Okay, I'm just getting a look at myself with these things on. Coming up, Sean Thompson and William Rubenstein discuss the military and Walt Disney World. That might mean the military will invade the Magic Kingdom, or the Disney characters will be drafted to fight in Afghanistan. We'll find out which. Coming up next. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode number 588 for the week of March 19th, 2013. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. The best reason to use Dreams Unlimited Travel is because I said so, which always worked for my mother, so I figured I'd try it here. DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, because I said so. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diz Unplugged Roundtable discussion, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, John Magi, Kevin Close, William Rubenstein, Sean Thompson, and back in the production nook, our producer, Dustin West, and associate producer, Craig Williams. In this episode, Sean and William are going to talk about military options for the military families at Walt Disney World. And being from military families, the two of them have a pretty good working knowledge of what's involved with this. So talk to us about what's available.
Yeah, so like you said, William and I both come from military backgrounds. Our dads are both in the military, or at one point was. Yeah. William's dad is retired Army.
Last year.
But my dad is active duty Air Force. And so just growing up, we have kind of a knowledge of coming to Disney from a military background, because we always wanted to get military discounts, and actually a lot of places offer fairly good discounts for coming on vacation here, whether on property or tickets. So
is it just, do you feel, before you even get into it, do you feel that enough is offered?
In certain areas, yes. In certain parks. Like, for example, we'll talk about this later, but SeaWorld does amazing things.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my feeling has always been that, they simply can't do enough.
Yeah, of course.
Even when it's good. I think that anything that can be done, especially right now, the past decade, where we have been in active wars, both in Iraq and Afghanistan, these men and women coming back, I don't know. I always think we can do more.
One thing that's kind of lacking here is merchandise discounts, which are kind of rare anyway. But a lot of times when you go, even just at home shopping, whether it be like Home Depot or sometimes even Target, you can get military discounts.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Home Depot is actually a huge one.
It's like 20%?
Yeah, it's really good. But it's kind of a secret thing. And maybe not every location offers it. But I know for sure that we've been given discounts at Home Depot.
And how does that work? Do you just show a military ID?
Yep, that's usually all it takes. Even going to the movies sometimes.
Uniform. Okay.
You have to do the special handshake. Yep. Usually it's just a military ID, and that'll get you that. But first we'll talk about tickets, because I think that's one of the huge, the biggest parts of coming to Disney.
That's the question we get most at Dreams Unlimited Travel, even beyond room discounts, is ticket discounts for military.
Yeah, and so there are a couple good options. The first one is called the Disney's Armed Forces Salute Magic Your Way 4-day tickets. And this is the best. This is the best one. Absolutely. So if you have the option to do this, I would strongly recommend doing it. And basically there are 3 different options for this. They're all 3 options are 4-day Magic Your Way tickets, but one of them just has the park hopper option. One of them has just the water park fun and more option, and then one of them has both of those added to it. And so for the first two, for park hopper and water parks, they're both $156 each.
Wow, for 4 days.
For 4 days. And then if you want to get both of those added on, it costs $184, which is still fantastic for 4 days.
So like right now, Disney is offering a special discount for Florida residents, the Discover Disney ticket. A 4-day park hopping ticket under that Discover Disney discount is still more expensive than these discounts.
Yeah.
So it really is an amazing discount that Disney's offering for that.
And this is definitely the way to go. And there's a couple conditions. They have to be purchased from last August, so anywhere from today's date up until September 25th of this year, and they have to be used from last October until September 30th of this year. And a good tip with these is if you buy these tickets at Shades of Green, there's no tax involved in purchasing these tickets.
Is that also Are these also available, do you know, on military bases?
They for sure are.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that true about the tax on military bases?
It's not.
Well?
No.
Okay. It's a good point.
Only at Shades of Green.
Now, for point of reference, a 4-day park hopper, just for anybody, $313.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're talking, it's half.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you're going to discuss this later. Do you know who's eligible to buy these tickets?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so
That always seems to be a big question.
absolutely, it's actually pretty fair. So eligible members to get these tickets are any active duty, any retired service members. Additionally, let me pull up those notes. So it's going to be the U.S. military, the National Guard, reservists, the U.S. Coast Guard, so all branches of the military. Additionally, if the military member is not there, a spouse can purchase them as well. Along with that, they can purchase up to 5 additional tickets with that discount. So if you have a family of 5, you can all get that discount. They also do give a consideration so that if you have a large family of, you say you have 10 kids, you can buy a discount ticket for all 10 kids as long as they are immediate family.
I don't mean to bring the mood down here, but what about those killed in action, their family members as well? Do you know?
Along with that, we would assume, I didn't see anything in regards to that.
I don't know
but,
anything for sure about that.
Usually under spouses of service members lost are given those considerations as long as they meet those requirements. So I would assume that those would apply to it as well.
Okay.
And with all those, you do need a proper military identification. So your military ID, you would need to get those.
Now, are military, just because I don't know, are military IDs issued to spouses?
They are. They're called dependent IDs.
Okay.
They look a little different than the active duty or the sponsor ID cards. So you can tell them quickly apart from each other. But yeah, you do have ID cards. But however, with these tickets, the sponsor must be present on the first day at the turnstiles to activate them. So, for example, you can't buy these tickets at an ITT office or outdoor rec on your base, on your military base, and then come down here without your sponsor.
Meaning the active,
not necessarily
retired.
active duty, but just the main.
This is
military
also
member.
so people don't sell them, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because, like you said, a discount of half off. That's
Right, yeah.
You don't want
Yeah.
to be reselling those.
Yeah, so like John asked, you can buy them on your base, and so you can find those at Outdoor Rec or ITT, which is the Information Ticketing Tours office. And so you can either buy them there. Like I said, it's good to wait at Shades of Green, to wait till you're down here and buy them at Shades of Green because you don't have to pay tax. However, it's a long line to get these tickets. We were there a couple weeks ago to do a tour, and it was very crowded.
I have a question, a distinction question. Is there a difference between retired military or someone who has served in the past?
In terms of retiring versus being a veteran, there is. To retire from the military, and I know I'm going to hear from my father about this because I'm probably going to get it wrong, you have to serve at least 20 years before you're able to retire with full benefits.
Now,
There are
does-
distinctions, yeah.
Okay, does that include buying the tickets? If you're ex-military, is
Yeah,
there,
there's a difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah, because when you leave the military, as opposed to retiring from it, it's considered an honorable discharge. Correct?
There are different ways.
There are,
yeah.
there are different
Because like
discharges.
my father served in World War II, for example.
right?
My father, in that capacity, was not able to get any kind of military discount or benefit. We're not able to stay at Shades of Green. This is for active and retired. So that means you either made a career out of it or you're actively serving in the military right now.
All right, so just to clear it up, so if you served in Iraq and you're no longer associated with the military, you don't get a
not
military
eligible.
discount.
To the best of my knowledge.
There was a couple options for honorably discharged.
See, the problem I always have with this is when someone asks a question, there's it seems like there's so many shades of gray. It's very sort of convoluted. There don't
Of
seem
course.
to be cut and dried rules with this. So I always feel like I'm lacking in information.
I'll be honest with you. One of the things we do at Dreams Unlimited Travel is we advise people to go to your base, go to your CO, and say, listen, I'm planning a trip to Disney World. What can I get?
Exactly.
What are my options? Because we don't know everything. There's a lot of ins and outs involved.
And that's good advice, to go to actually the source and find out what's best for you and what you can get. So like I said, those are available at ITT.
One more question for you. Can they get these tickets at other ticket sales offices around Walt Disney World, or is it only
No,
Shades of Green?
from what I understand.
You can get the Armed Forces Salute tickets at other locations. Let me pull up my notes. I'm sorry. You can purchase those at ticket windows and guest relations windows. However, you are going to be getting those taxes that you wouldn't get at Shades of Green. So it really, if you're buying 6 tickets, it does behoove you to take that few extra minutes, maybe on your first day when you're not planning on going to the parks, get the Shades of Green, purchase those tickets, and head out.
Let me ask you a question here. If you're looking for that military discount, but you're not staying at Shades of Green, will you be able to go into Shades of Green to that ticket window?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we've actually had dinner at Shades of Green several times. We've gone into the restaurant.
Well, that's something else that we'll talk about later, but we were told that that's not possible.
I don't know, at one point maybe it was, or if you were...
She told us we couldn't go on and have to eat at those restaurants when we went on.
Yeah, they
Shades of Green.
We were able to get in, but I don't think we were supposed to.
We sent other people there
We did.
that had no problem getting in. You had to show an identification, just like you were going on.
I'm just telling you what we were told is that the restaurants
Maybe
on
it's
property.
changed. It's been, the last time we did it, we went with Bob and his wife. So.
However, because it's a military resort, if you show a military ID, you can get into the resort for any reason. You don't have to have a reservation there.
There are also some gray areas because the golf courses are located on that property. So
you have the Palma Magnolia golf
exactly.
course.
So you have to drive through that gate to get to those golf courses. So, I don't know if there's a set rule that you can't go eat at those restaurants, but that's at least what we were told.
And just one last thing about the tickets is that you cannot purchase those through the Disney Reservation Center or at any Disney resort. If you purchase them, it had to be done at Shades of Green, the ITT office at your post or base, depending on what branch you are, and ticket windows and guest relations locations.
For those that don't know, Shades of Green is located pretty much across from the entrance to the Polynesian.
Correct. It is very, very close. It's an old Disney resort. It was the... Do we want to get into Shades of Green now?
Let's hold off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yes, you're right, Kevin.
We just want to finish the ticket stuff. So if you can't get the Armed Forces Salute Magic Your Way tickets, there's another option called the Magic Your Way Stars and Stripes Pass, which does offer a discount for military members. It's not anywhere near the discount you get with the Salute to Armed Forces. Sometimes it's even just a couple dollars taken off the ticket price. There are different options. You can get it from 1 day all the way up to like 8 or 9, 10 day passes, I believe. And there are multiple different options. You can get the no expire, different park hopper, all these different water parks. Yeah, just any type of tickets. But these are. Do you want to talk more about these?
Oh, well, I was going to say the Stars and Stripes passes don't have any blackout dates, from what we understood. The Armed Forces Salute ticket does have blackout dates.
Just to mention those, for the Salute to Armed Forces, the blackout dates are March 24th of this year to April 4th, and then that's for all parks. And then Magic Kingdom only has a blackout date on July 4th.
So it's Easter week.
Easter weekend, July 4th.
The most busiest, yeah.
Magic Kingdom is cramped. So, yeah.
All right, so the Stars and Stripes Pass, any other things you want to talk about that?
No, it's Stars and Stripes Pass is a regular Magic Your Way ticket at a discount. Like Sean said, it is nowhere near the discount you get for the Armed Forces.
A couple details about this. They can only be purchased at Shades of Green Resort by guests staying either at Shades of Green or another Disney resort. So you can't be staying off property and get these Stars and Stripes passes. So there's a lot of details and caveats to remember.
Wow.
Yeah. But like we saw earlier in the picture, that is where you buy those tickets at Shades of Green. And so like these, there are no tax.
Right, and that's one of the perks of buying it on Shades of Green is
Definitely.
you don't have to pay that tax.
I wonder why you don't get charged tax at Shades of Green, but you do if you buy these on your base.
I think. Oh yeah, you're right. I don't know.
There's someone in chat who said that he works for NASA and has a Department of Defense ID and was able to get the military
Yes,
discounts
Department of Defense
off of.
employees.
Yes, there
can
are
get the
select
discounts.
Department of Defense, CIA, Department of Homeland Security, I believe, also can. NASA, whether you're based out of Cape Canaveral or Houston.
So it's best to check with your immediate supervisor to see if you're eligible for these.
Or your
discounts.
office on base. Yeah.
Definitely contact the ITT office, whether you're just thinking about going or you know you're going and you want to start.
And just an
putting these in
example,
motion.
when I was preparing for this, I talked to my mom, and she actually went to the ITT office on base and got me a bunch of materials, which pretty much offered the same information that we had on our site. But it's still a good idea to go and check and see what the most current things that they have.
Also, because everything changes at Disney.
Yeah.
You never
Right.
know what's going to change at the last minute.
Well, it seems these rules have changed since the last time we were there. So you know.
Yeah, and so those are basically the options for tickets. We also want to talk about staying on property at resorts and hotels. We talked a little bit about shades of green, but we'll get into that too. But I think, William, you want to talk about some official Disney resort discounts.
Sure. So Disney resorts, you can get discounts for a military discount at the Polynesian Resort, the Contemporary, Art of Animation. However, it varies. With availability, it's not we have a generic 20% discount on a room all the time. It is based on availability. It's based on the number of discounts they do have, a number of rooms they have allocated for that. As of now, the current discount they have going goes throughout September 28th. With the same blackout time frame as those tickets. This one goes from March 25th to April 4th. So for that Easter week, there's no military discounts offered. This, again, is offered to all active and retired members of the U.S. military, the National Guard, reservists, and the Coast Guard. And there are some requirements. So when you check in, you're going to need to show your military ID. Same with if you have a Florida resident discount, you need to show that Florida ID. There are some minimum lengths required. If you're checking out on Friday or Saturday, you might have to stay for a minimum of 3 nights, 4 nights. Again, it all depend on the resort, the season. During the busy season, there's going to be less offers available just because they don't have to offer those.
It's kind
discounts.
of like annual pass holder rates and Florida resident rates.
Exactly. It's just like all those. And along with all those, there's no discount stacking. So these discounts are available on room-only reservations. You can't then say, oh, free dining is out, I'm going to get that as well. Because free dining, of course, is with a rack rate room most of the time. So,
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of sporadic. How
good are the room discounts? I mean, are they?
I would say it's definitely comparable to Florida resident or annual pass discounts.
Okay, so it's in the same vein.
The same vein.
Okay.
Again, it all varies with.
So it's not going to be
season.
like with that one ticket where it's like 50% off.
No. If they do offer that, I'm sure we're going to hear about that very quickly. Be gone very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are resorts that are official Disney. But then, like we talked about earlier, Shades of Green is right across from the Poly. And it used to be the old golf resort.
Right, the Disney Inn.
Well, it was the Disney Inn after, but even before the Disney Inn, it was Disney's
The
golf
golf
resort.
resort.
That's what it was called.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from that, I went to Disney Inn. And then after that, the military, certainly the Department of Defense, leased it for 99 years, I believe, and converted it to the Shades of Green. Having 2 different names because, first off, there are golf courses, and secondly, all 5 branches of the military have some uniform that has some green in it. So just going over, being inclusive to all branches. I like Army most because I am an
Air
Army
Force
brat.
is better.
Rivalry.
Oh yeah, you definitely get certain branch pride. Yeah.
Yeah, I made the mistake of when we were out in California of saying that Sean was an Army brat. He's like, I am not. I'm Air Force, Williams Army.
I said it just like that.
He did. There were like pearls being clutched, and
I have to shout out to the Navy. I've got Navy in my family. So there you go.
Oh my. Yeah, so this resort is owned by the U.S. government, and so the only people that can stay there are employees, either military members or employees of the government, like Department of Defense.
but it's limited to like Department of Defense in that arena, not like, I work at Health and Human Services, so I can
No.
say Shades of Green.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this like where the president stays if he comes or
No.
something
Oh, I
like that?
doubt it. No.
The president doesn't stay here. He flies in and leaves.
Okay.
It's important to point out that the Shades of Green does not receive any sort of funding or money from the government. That was stressed highly, especially right now since we have a sequester going on and there are cuts going everywhere. The military does not give any money to this resort. The resort is maintained and expanded on by money provided by outside companies and by the people staying there. So
Right.
I'm spending $200 a night to stay there. A portion of that is going to maintain the resort.
I see.
Yeah, we met with the director of marketing and sales there, and she was very adamant about that they're not receiving any government money.
So there's no government subsidization.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Okay.
The taxpayers are not paying for
No,
this.
nothing like that.
However, the government has leased the land, so the resort doesn't have to pay the lease to Disney on the land.
But those costs are being offset by this money.
Right. I'm sure that's what's included in what the resort has to pay. You have that skeptical
I'll give
look
you
on
her
your
business
face.
card so you can call
Yes,
her
let me
because
give
I
her
don't
a
know if
call.
I'm qualified to.
Did you get blueprints?
No, they've always stressed the fact that Shades of Green is not subsidized by
It also
taxpayer
doesn't matter
dollars.
to me. I just think that
You're freaking me out. I know. It's like Rachel Maddow. I don't know.
Oh, I love Rachel Maddow.
I don't know your situation.
So,
Are we gonna have a cocktail moment after this?
anyway, John was doing.
I have to redo it. I don't think it's going to be as funny.
Trying to point to you to tell you cut to John.
Sorry,
Cut to John.
I didn't understand that
Wearing his
sign
lesbian
language.
glasses.
I was.
lesbian classes.
Erudite
I
lesbian
like Rachel. Be
glasses.
nice to her.
Oh, we love Rachel Maddow. but
She's my
I
favorite.
like to make fun of her.
All right.
Sorry.
Anyway, so the Shades of Green Resort is has a perfect location, I think, because it's right across from the Polynesian,
Absolutely.
and you can walk over there. It's-
They do have buses. However, when we stayed there back in 2008, we would walk over to the Polynesian and grab the monorail.
Just be careful. We watched them take alligators out of those ponds on each side of the road one day.
So they're going to get you as you walk across the
They are
road.
waiting for military personnel,
good.
especially Air Force person.
Not Army.
Well,
I'm safe.
let's go and talk about Shades of Green.
Sure.
And we do have a video if you.
Yeah, let's do that
whenever you're
first. Yeah.
All right. For those of you who are listening, you may view this video on our YouTube channel. Link to that in the show notes page, disunplugged.com. And for those of you watching us, here you go.
So we saw some pictures on the video and some ideas of what amenities are at Shades of Green, but I thought we should.
It's a really
go into
beautiful
some of
resort.
those.
It's a very
It is
beautiful.
absolutely
And it's
gorgeous.
been recently renovated. We saw some of the lobby shots, but it's kind of themed so that half of the resort is kind of themed to the Palm golf course, and then half of it is magnolia. So there's even two trees that sit in the lobby itself. One is a palm tree, one is a magnolia tree, just to signify that it's right in the center of those two golf courses. So they brought a lot of stuff into the lobby, and it's really nice. But we got a couple questions about buses. There is transportation to the parks. They're not official Disney buses. They are their own Shades of Green branded buses. The schedule is dependent on the season. So through busier times, it'll come quicker. But I think it's fairly comparable to the Disney buses where it'll come every maybe 20 to 30 minutes. I don't think it's...
I remember them being every, like, on the 15 minute, I'm the 30 minutes.
Yeah, they were
Now-
fairly quick.
Now, do they drop off at the same locations as the Disney buses, or do you have to go to like the transportation and ticket center and the external bus system areas?
So if you're going to the Magic Kingdom or Epcot, you're going to be going over to the Transportation and Ticket Center. Over at Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disneyland Kingdom Theme Park, they're going to take you not to the official Disney bus loop, but this section, if I remember correctly,
For charter buses?
the charter buses nearby. And I mean, there's over to the TTC, of course, you can grab the monorails to
Right.
Magic Kingdom and Epcot.
So that's another reason if you want to walk over to the Poly, if you're going to either the Magic Kingdom or Epcot, it's easier just to walk over.
And they will have buses also to downtown Disney and the water parks. So
If you're going to drive there and park there, parking costs $14 a day. So that's something to remember. It's kind of like the Swan and Dolphin where you have to pay. But there's a nice parking garage, so your car will be safe. What other amenities?
Because nothing screams safe like a parking garage.
Well, I only say that because on their website they kind of they have that listed as a selling point. So
Okay.
Have you never watched a Lifetime movie? They all those bad people had
that one with Madeline Stowe, I saw, yeah, where she lost her eyesight.
they also do have a spa on site. I'm trying to get away from that as quickly as possible.
They do have a spa.
They do have a spa. They have a Magnolia Spa, which they have services. I mean, a ton of services. What they pointed out, which is I had no idea, was that you don't have to stay at the Shades of Green to use that spa, and you
All
don't
right,
have to.
but you can't use the
I know.
restaurant.
Yeah.
It was weird. You can't, so you don't have to stay there, nor do you have to be a military member. They said it was open to the public. I had
That's
no
that's
idea.
news to me.
It's odd that the restaurants would be closed to the public, but you can go to get a massage at the spa.
They probably need the business at the spa.
For sure. Yeah.
And now
Up to
with
everybody.
the Census Spa being recently opened over to Grand Floridian, I'm sure it's not as
Less
Yeah.
business there, and they're trying to drum up business.
right.
Yeah.
The
Now-
prices though are quite comparable, if not comparable.
At the spa.
The spa is a lot cheaper than what I would think of Census.
I have a question for you guys. It used to be that military paid, the rate that they paid was based on their rank.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. So,
Okay, sorry.
There are essentially 3 categories to the pay rate that you pay to stay here. There's Category 1, which is equivalent to an E1 through an E5 and cadets. So I'm sorry, this might be a little confusing.
Enlisted.
Enlisted.
Yep, enlisted. And there are a couple others. But Category 2 is E6 through E9 and O1 through O3. And then Category 3 is O4 and up to O10. There are a few more people in these categories. I don't know if you want to go into further who's all listed.
Sure, we can quickly go over that. So category 1, like Sean said, was the E1s through E5s and cadets. That is the cheapest category. Those people make the least amount of money in the military.
Right.
So they price the rooms the cheapest for them. Category 2, the E6 through the E9s and the O1s through the O3s. They also include widows, Medal of Honor recipients, 100% disabled veterans, and Category 1 sponsored rooms. So if an E3 is getting 2 rooms, one for them and one for other family, that second room, since it is a sponsored room, would be under the Category 2 pricing grid.
Do you by any chance have the example of the pricing?
Absolutely. So this is from last year. We don't, on the website, they did not have current pricing. However, a Category 1 standard room, which the standard rooms are some of the largest on Disney property.
Oh, they're massive.
They
This
are
was
massive.
This was built at around the same time the Poly and the Contemporary were built.
Yeah.
Right. So
So these rooms are those 400 plus square foot.
right.
If you don't mind me asking, I don't want to break up what you're doing here, but there's a difference in price for the different rankings. Is there also a difference in the room square footage and layout and that kind of?
No.
They're not. No, the rooms
Okay.
are identical with the exception of how much you pay depending on your rank.
Okay.
Also location and view, but that's with any
Right.
resort.
Right, absolutely. So it's nice that, an E2 can have the exact same room that an O8 can have. And since they are making so much less money, they are able to get that at a discount to stay there.
So what were some of the pricing?
So a standard room is ranging from $95 for a Category 1, $123 for a Category 2, and $131 for a Category 3.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Great.
And those prices, the only prices that have those breakdowns for depending on your rank are the standard rooms and the poolside rooms. Poolside being a little more, desirable since you are right next to one of the one next to the pool. Excuse me. However, when you get into the suites are the same price no matter what you're ranking, and those suites can hold I think they said up to 8 people for
Yeah,
the
there
Palms.
are some large ones, yeah.
They are massive 2-bedroom suites, and those are $375. So when you're comparing to the Polynesian right next door, which for a standard room is starting at $400.
400, yeah.
And when it comes to booking, she said that, I mean, we couldn't even see a room because they were fully booked.
100% occupied.
I understand that's true most of the time.
Yeah.
I understand this
I would
is a
expect.
very well attended resort.
I wonder how far out in advance you really need to book this in order to get the dates you want.
I don't know that exactly, but I think it would be fairly far in
Now,
advance.
it used to be, and this may be throwing you a curveball, but it used to be that for circumstances when they were fully booked, they had arrangements with other resorts in the area for overflow.
True.
Are they still doing
I'm not
that?
sure of that.
I haven't heard of that still going on. However, I do remember that being a policy they used to have.
Don't believe that's true because I think it's currently true because they do offer military discounts at other resorts.
Okay.
So Disney's answer to that was, we're going to let you have a discount at another resort.
Well, no, this was Shades of Green. Actually, Shades of Green at one point, now we're going back about 10 years. At one point, Shades of Green had a department whose sole job was to negotiate these rates with area hotels and then book people into them when they, as part of the overflow. So you called Shades of Green to make a reservation, and there was nothing available at Shades of Green. Their reservations office would then put you in one of these other properties at a reduced rate.
I used to work with hotels, and we used to call that walking people. You would walk them to another hotel. It was
Right,
just
but that's if they show up
Right.
and you don't have the room that they
Well,
booked.
no, even if you were trying to book someone that you didn't want to send away, you didn't want to tell them no,
Right,
you would
right,
walk
right.
them to another hotel. However, most hotels aren't willing to discuss that in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
That's
No, I
kind of
just
a
I just
well-known
remember
secret.
we were doing business with a woman who had set this department up, and I wasn't sure if they were still.
I think it would be great if they were still doing it, but I'm not sure.
Do you guys have any idea what an enlisted person makes in the Army? Would you have any idea what that salary is?
I don't
3 minutes, I
actually.
can find it.
Because I would imagine that while we're all oohing and ahhing over these prices that they're getting, I bet it's still a struggle.
$99 a night for somebody.
I have no doubt about
the
that,
lowest
for
levels.
sure.
Yeah.
Look, let's be honest. It's one of my pet peeves is that there are people serving actively in the military who live below the poverty line. There are military families. And if anybody sends me any crap emails about politics on the show, you know what you can do. Military families that have to be on food stamps because they don't make enough to support themselves.
Well, how many at minimum wage? If you're a minimum wage worker, you're below the poverty guidelines.
Right. My point is that unlike somebody working at McDonald's, these people are putting their lives on the line. They've signed away years of their life to dedicate to the service of their country. The least we can do is put them above the poverty line.
I agree.
That is a huge pet peeve of mine.
So while we're all going, ooh, I would love to get $99
Right,
a night.
$99 a night. You're right. For a lot of, I'm going to say a lot, but for at least some portion of the military, even that amount is probably tough
A
to come
once in
up
a
with.
lifetime
And
vacation.
exactly, we're talking about once in a kid's life to come do this. Yeah.
Right.
Do you have salaries?
So an E1 enlisted is making about $1,500 a month. And
So, really, okay, are you telling me that there are men and women serving in Afghanistan right now that make $1,500 a month?
I would assume
Please
that
tell me that's not. Please tell me like there's hazard pay and.
oh, if you're deployed and you're
Yeah,
down
there's
range,
deployment
there's
pay.
deployment pay, there's
Right,
hazard
there's
pay,
battle
there's
pay, right.
and additionally an E1 I'm sure there are cases, but I highly doubt an E1 is being deployed.
E1
or
is
out and
probably
about.
boot camp.
It's boot camp. You're as we call them, since I'm now older than most of the people now. They're the babies of the military. They're going to be trained and they're going to be conditioned before they're even deployed, and by that time they're going to be.
Because honestly, the minute they touch ground in a war zone, they should be set for life. They should never have to worry about supporting their families.
Unfortunately, that's not true.
I know. I realize that's not the case. I'm just saying it should be. That this is when I say we can't do enough. We can't do enough for these people that do this. I can't comprehend what it takes to sign up for something knowing that you're going to go, you might go to a place like Afghanistan or Iraq. I don't care what you think of whether or not we should be fighting these wars, or it has nothing to do with that. It doesn't matter. The guys men and women who are going and fighting these wars, they're doing what they're told. So the politics, we can take up with the politicians. What we do to support the people in the military is another story. And it has always bothered me. It has always bothered me that when I hear stories about military families on food stamps, I don't, and even if you're not in Afghanistan or Iraq, if you've dedicated yourself to the military, you are dedicating yourself to the service of your country, whether it's here in Orlando or out in California or in some far-off place in a war zone, you have said, okay, for this period of my life, I'm going to dedicate my career to the service of my nation. And I may be called up to go into some of these places. Who knows what's going to happen? You put yourself in that position. When you've done that, the least we should be able to guarantee you is you are not going to live beneath the poverty line, and that the medical care you're going to get is going to be the best we can give you. Because then we get into that. My father, a veteran of World War II, I saw all the nightmares about the VA hospitals. And we still hear those stories. I'm going to get off the soapbox now, but
before we move on to another subject, I just want to wish some folks in Indiana well. There are 2 campuses on lockdown, and some of our listeners are in those campuses. So we hope they remain safe.
Oh, gosh. This is just happening now,
It's happening live in our chat room.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, please stay safe.
Indiana University, I believe, and Riley. I don't know what that is, but it's going on in our chat room that people are on lockdown and have not gotten the all clear yet. I hope everyone remains safe.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys physically went to Shades of Green and did this tour. Now, I have a question. When you went there, did they ask or did you tell?
What was this?
I don't even know what to respond.
Don't. It was supposed to be a joke. Don't.
It was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be.
Anyway,
Moving on.
I apologize. Riley is a children's hospital. That's also on lockdown.
I was trying to lighten the load.
I know. I promise I'll stop, but I wanted everybody to know exactly what we're talking about. I promise this will be my last update. We still hope you're safe.
all right. So just a couple more specifics about Shades of Green. When you check in, the sponsor must be present when you check into the resort, which has been a change since William and I actually stayed there in 2007. We were able to book it and then stay there as dependents. We were able to check in just as children of active duty military members, and this is not the case anymore. The actual sponsor needs to be present with a military ID, and the website actually even said a leave and earnings statement, which gets a little bit more specific. I mean, most things you just need, military ID, but this is, I think because of the tiered pricing, you have to have something a little bit more concrete in what you're earning.
So you actually have to show up with your leave statement saying that you're on leave and not just like on AWOL taking a vacation.
Yeah, and what you're earning. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's very official. And then, so that's just Shades of Green. So there's I think that's a good opportunity for people to come down and stay on property with some fairly good rates. But then if another option on property is actually the Swan and Dolphin. They have some really good military rates as well, which I think is great. And I love that location, almost more than the Shades of Green spot, because it's right next to the boardwalk.
It's nice to know that's a good option.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. Then there are some good off-property resorts that...
Do you have examples of Swan Dolphin pricing?
Let's see. It can start at $159 a night. Obviously, it's dependent on the season and what type of room you're getting, but I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially for Epcot Resort area.
Epcot Resort area.
Right.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
Yeah. And just like Shades of Green, you have to pay to park there, but I mean, if you can get transportation from the airport, it's easy enough to just get there and stay there because it's really centralized located. So then some off-property resorts, and for these you pretty much need a rental car. At least I would recommend one.
Can we go back for 1 second?
Yeah.
I just want to point out too, Shades of Green and Swan Dolphin don't participate in Magical Express.
They don't.
They do not.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, actually. People that are staying at Shades of Green can take part in extra magic hours, which is, I know, something else people ask about.
So these are all things you have to consider as part of your vacation.
Yeah.
That's an extra cost now, getting from the airport.
Exactly. So then off-property, the Buena Vista Suites, which is a nice location right off of 535 and 536. They have really good rates for military too. And then also the Sheraton Vistana Villages. Those are really nice because they're like suites, so you can get multiple bedroom spots or
with
rooms.
a kitchen.
And that's a really good option for a family coming to stay down for any length
Absolutely.
of time. Especially if you're coming down for 4 days with that military ticket. Come down and actually live or stay in a place with a kitchen. But like I said, rental cars are a good option for that because you'll probably be driving to the parks. And so actually a lot of rental car companies offer military discounts as well. So when you're at the airport, you can book a rental car with a discount. And Shades of Green actually has their own Alamo counter right inside the resort. And you can leave and pick up your car straight from the resort, which is a good option. Yeah. Do you want to talk about some of the healthcare stuff?
Sure. Of course, one thing to consider when you're going on vacation is what happens if I get sick. Military members have TRICARE, and pretty much all the centric care, the minute clinics, the quick walk-in places around Walt Disney World property will accept TRICARE. So that's a great benefit that if something, God forbid, should happen, you don't have to worry about going somewhere and then having to look for reimbursement through TRICARE. They'll take care of that all at once.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there might be a copay or whatever.
Might be a
works,
copay,
but yeah. And then, in addition to that, some of the hospitals around the area, the ERs also take TRICARE. I think there is a rule, though. You have to notify your direct. I'm forgetting the word.
Primary.
No. Yeah, like your boss, your squadron commander,
CO, your commanding officer.
Exactly. Within 24 hours of going to the ER. That's just how TRICARE works. I know it's this weird rule, but we've had to do that a few times. So just remember that too if you're on vacation. Another huge thing I wanted to talk about was that there is a naval training center annex up near the airport. And they have a full ITT office, so you can buy the Disney tickets there. But they also have a full commissary and an exchange. So like a BX or a post exchange. This is just Navy's version of it. But you can go to the commissary and get your groceries, any kind of supplies that you want for your trip. Just like you would at home on your military base. Right. It's a full commissary, which I didn't even know.
No, I didn't know that existed until Sean said they have a commissary. I'm like,
but commissaries usually have great rates.
I missed the commissary.
Yeah. So that's a good option if you're flying in, get a rental car, head over to this base. You need an ID, of course, to get on and to do any purchasing at the commissary.
And inside Shades of Green, there is a small AVs store there. So if you needed to get something small, you can do that at Shades of Green, but it's not going to be the full extent of a full.
Although they are redoing it right now.
Right.
They're renovating it.
Right.
There's a couple in-park extras that we wanted to talk about, kind of magical moments that are possible for military members. One of them is the flag retreat ceremony at Town Square. Has your dad done this?
He did. I tried to get him to do it a couple times, and each time it wasn't available. And then one time he came down, and some friends signed him up, and I wasn't there.
So what is that whole process?
So the whole process of doing the flag retreat is you cannot arrange this beforehand. It has to be done in person at the Magic Kingdom Guest Relations. So head over to City Hall. They can look a few days into the future, but it's not something I can call Guest Relations up, 2 months from now and say, hey, we're coming down. My dad's, retired military. Can we do this? They don't have that capability to arrange it that far in advance. So they will tell you all the instructions where to meet. You are marched out down Main Street. You help the Magic Kingdom Color Guard retreat the colors, and then you march with the marching band down Main Street. It happens every day at 5 p.m. It's a really great ceremony.
It really is.
It is a beautiful ceremony, yeah.
If I'm in the park at 5 p.m., I will usually try to stop and see it. I don't know if it's just me as I'm a brat, and I'm just
no.
I think it's good for everyone.
I think it's beautiful.
It really is. Yeah. At the end, they do give you a certificate, and they do give you a special pin, which is only available to these guests, and they do ask that please don't put this on eBay. Don't trade this. It is a very special pin, and we don't want this to just become something.
Some collectible.
It is something that holds meaning to these people.
Wow.
I can tell you, as a pin collector, they were non-existent.
Yeah.
It's they are very adamant about making sure that they're not out there.
Does the military person actually lower the flag, or do they fold the flag?
They do not lower it. They will stand there and they will help fold it, and they will then hold it.
Wow.
So
cool.
It really
Very
is
cool.
a great ceremony.
Yes, that's one example. Another cool one is fairly rare, and it only happened to us once.
I apologize. I just want to go back a moment, and I'm told that there are not pins or certificates at Disneyland.
Oh, just at World.
There is a flag retreat ceremony that runs similarly, but there are no pins or certificates.
They get to keep the flag.
That'd be amazing. I would love to have a flag flown.
I just wanted to let people know.
Yeah. So like I was saying, there is a small magical moment that we saw once, and I wouldn't go seeking this out, but it was so cool when it happened. William's dad actually, they were in town, and we were eating at Columbia Harbor House, and as we were paying, I don't know how it happened, but a conversation was started, and the server actually found out that William's dad was in the Army, or retired, and when they brought out our food on the tray, there was a card on our tray
signed by everybody at the Columbia Harbor House saying thank you for your service.
Oh, isn't that
it
cool?
was-
with an American flag on the front.
Yeah.
It was this beautiful card.
I had to talk to my parents last night, and I was like, I don't remember how this happened. I remember we got the card, you got the card, and it was just a conversation between the server and my dad about the military. And the server thanked him for his service at that time, and on the receipt actually made a notation military, and at that point, they did this. Again, I've never heard of this happening except for this one time.
And I've never seen it again. Only this one time.
So this is a very rare magical moment, not saying that.
But I was just blown away by it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I think we'll get into a couple more discounts. DCL the cruise line has some pretty good discounts, although they're very kind of sporadic and hard to find. It's like they go by weekly.
No, it's actually, you have to wait for it to be announced, and it's only on certain sailings.
Yeah.
And usually it's limited to the number of staterooms available. So even if they say military discount on the sailing, you could call up and they could all be gone. There could be one stateroom.
Okay.
So it's
I think right now there's only one available in May for the transatlantic out of Galveston.
It's a great rate, though.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, but you have to know exactly when you're going and be
I think you're
prepared
going
for
to see
that.
better rates on that cruise too.
Because it's not.
Yeah, but you're looking at a 14-night eastbound transatlantic out of Galveston, $55 per person per night.
Yeah.
That's going to be $700 per person, right? Yeah.
It's $1,560. I did the math last night.
Okay, $1,560 for two people for 2 weeks.
I want to go.
Yeah, that's
How many days at sea is that?
27.
Exactly. It feels like 40.
And you have to fly home from Barcelona.
yeah, true.
And yeah, so that's DCL. If you're coming to the Orlando area and you're staying off property and you have a car, or even if you're staying on Disney property, you might want to go to like Universal. They have a fairly good rate. Military members, for active duty and retired service members, they get a free 3-day park-to-park ticket. So that's completely free.
Free.
It's free. Then there's also promotional tickets for friends and family, a 2-day park-to-park, and you get the 3rd day free. So you have to pay for 2 days. So if, say, you're in active duty and you want to buy your spouse or children a ticket, you have to buy a two-day park-to-park, but you get the 3rd day free. So that's pretty good. You get a day free. You can buy up to 6 promotional tickets, and you have to buy it by May 15th?
By May 15th.
Yeah.
At a military ticketing office, so ITT.
on your base. Yeah. And then do you want to read about SeaWorld?
So SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, that company has by far the best discount for tickets for our military members. Any active duty, activated or drilling reservist, or any National Guardsman is entitled to a free one-time admission at either SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Adventure Island, Water Country USA, or Sesame Place, so any of those properties around the country, and can receive as many as 3 additional tickets for dependents.
For free.
So, for free.
Wow.
So that is amazing. You're going to the park to one of those parks for one day for completely free, which is an amazing discount.
What? Now, is that just for the service member or for their
It's free.
dependents?
You can get additional ones.
So you get the one free for the service member and 3 additional free ones for dependents. So a total of 4.
My family did this when they came down actually a few years ago, and my dad was active duty, and so he got his ticket, and then my mom and my sister were able to go for free. So they spent the entire day at SeaWorld for free.
Now, did you say once per lifetime?
One time, yeah.
I think it's once per year.
Once a year.
Phew.
Yeah.
I remember at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, it's like all summer long. You know, they have like the Halloween, Christmas celebrations, but the entire summer, because there's so many holidays like 4th of July, Memorial Day, and all that kind of stuff, the entire summer is themed around military appreciation. I don't know if they do it at Busch Gardens Tampa, but in some of the other...
I've heard of that.
I haven't heard it either. I love that idea.
That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Muggsy
So,
would know.
yeah, we'll call her and ask. But I don't know if they do the celebration, but I mean, that free ticket.
Patronizing. Yeah, well, we'll call him and ask.
I don't know. Anyway, I think it's really cool that a family can come down and not only get discounted rates at Disney for their tickets for their hotel, but also can go to like Universal for huge discounts, I think, and SeaWorld.
I would be interested to find out. You mentioned about there's discounts at stores locally around a base. I wonder if maybe the Walmart or the Target around here does that.
Well, I wanted to point that out, actually. The only way to know that is to ask. So I would definitely recommend. So like I said, at Disney merchandise locations don't do that. So if you go to like any in-park gift shop or things like that. But I would say at Downtown Disney even, maybe at the AMC. I don't know for sure. But all you could do is ask. I know they have, senior citizen rates, student rates.
Right.
So
The worst they can say is no.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
And thank you for your service.
They can't hit you.
Nope.
No. So yeah, those are our tips.
Awesome.
Excellent.
I want you to know our chat folks think you guys were very well prepared. We threw some questions at you, and you
prepared.
answered them all. I think
They
that's
were.
terrific.
They did a great job. Always do.
What a
Always
difference
do.
in
Always a
some people.
pleasure. Always a pleasure to see William. It's
great to be
this is
here.
William's first time on the show itself, but William has helped us out at various events on podcast cruises and things like that, and always great to see him. And I love this segment. I think you guys did an awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.
And that will do it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next time with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Lights are off.